Question asks us to solve for break-even point in dollars and break-even point in units. We know that break-even point in dollars is 35,000 divided by your margin percent, which in this case is 43%. Solving the question like this will give you a break-even point in dollars of 81,395. Now hold that thought because I'm going to come back to, again, that's method number 1 to come up with that answer. We will cover method number 2 in just a second. Coming down to step 2, break-even point in units, again, we take our fixed cost of 35,000, and in this case, we want to divide by a unit margin. So we know that our margin is 43%. We've got variable costs of 450. If you flip that margin to a markup by taking, again, we know margin to markup is 43 divided by 100% minus 43, or 57, you'll end up with a markup of 75.44%. Multiplying that by your variable cost gives you a unit margin of $3.39. Again, that's your markup of 75.44 times your variable cost of 450. Because you know markup is unit margin divided by variable cost is equal to 75.44. So all we're doing is solving for UM here. Okay, so now we've got our unit margin of 339. And we get break even in units of 10,324. We have to sell to break even. Now, we have answered the question, but some of you may have approached the question a little bit differently. So I just want to show you how your numbers would have been different. Some of you would have started by calculating a break even in units, and then you would have brought that up here and used method number 2 to come up with the answer for break-even point in dollars, whereby you take your units and you multiply it by the selling price. So in this case, we have 10,324 units to break even, and we're going to multiply by our selling price. If our unit margin is 339, we're going to add to that our variable cost of 450 to come to a selling price per unit of 789. So that's your variable cost, that's your unit margin. Add those together, you get your selling price. So when you multiply 10,324 by 789, you're going to get a break even in dollars of 81,460. Okay, so that's method number 2. Notice that the numbers are different, right? They're off by 65 bucks. I'm not worried about this on the test. Again, we're worried about your methodology. Do you understand what all of this means, and do you understand how to quickly come to an answer? Show me your work on the test, and I am not worried about the approach that you take or how you round or the answer you come to. I'm following through on your process, okay? So just a reminder here too, some of you may have approached step 2 differently. You would have calculated this, and then you could have come down here and divided by selling price to come up with your break-even point in units. Fine. Love it. Either way, it is good with me.